Okay, so from the very beginning, I started discussing shadows, things that were hidden, secrets of God. Discussing God's heart, reasons why certain things were built, why God made sure that His heart was there, and these kind of ways from the beginning all the way to where we are now. And right now, we just happen to be Jesus is resurrected. And I'm going to go to the walk to Emmaus. Jesus meets these two people that are walking. I believe they're a couple. And he asks them, what things is this that you speak of? And they pretty much say, are you the only person in all of Israel that don't know of these things of Jesus? He has them explain, and they explain. And as soon as they're done, he says, you're foolish. And your hearts are weak, that you did not. How do you not know that the Christ was supposed to go through these things? And so, to confirm and to strengthen their heart, as soon as he calls them fools, it's so Jesus, God, knows exactly what people need to hear when they're questioning God or when they don't understand. He talks straight to their heart, because that's the first thing he pointed out. Weak at heart. You're weak at heart. Why is he talking about that? Why is he talking about the heart? Heart was always the issue. So in the walk to Emmaus, by the way, that distance they walked was approximately 7 miles to Emmaus from where they were. Number of perfection, 7. I thought it was pretty cool. So it says from the beginning, at Moses and all the prophets, he expounded all the scriptures. 7 miles, that is a long walk. To walk 7 miles. They were together for hours through this journey. So he knew he had time. He started from the very beginning, and he expounded all the scriptures, beginning at Moses and all the prophets. So he started with Moses and all the prophets there in the Old Testament, and he's talking about things concerning himself in Scripture. He's talking about things he knows people cannot see. Well, now that he's here, the Spirit of revelation is here, because the Spirit of revelation wasn't here at that time. When it's talking about Christ in the Old Testament, there's many scriptures that talk about like the rod of Jesse, and lots of scriptures that are pointing out that there's going to be this person to come, and he's always explained in so many different ways. And one of the ways, there's 6 of the spirits are revealed, and off the top of my head, I'll see if I can remember them. I think it's the spirit of might, the spirit of fear of the Lord, the spirit of, might, fear of the Lord. You know what? Was it going to hurt? I don't remember all of them top of my head. Let's see if I can remember where it's at real quick. It might be... Is it Isaiah? It might be in Isaiah. The rod of Jesse. Okay. Oh, I was right. Isaiah 11, I'm sorry. And it says, the branch of Jesse. And there shall come forth a rod out of the stem of Jesse, and a branch shall grow out of his roots, and the Spirit of the Lord shall rest upon him. And this is where it goes over the spirits. The spirit of wisdom, the spirit of understanding, the spirit of counsel, the spirit of might, the spirit of knowledge, the fear of the Lord. Is that right? The spirit of wisdom, understanding, spirit of counsel, spirit of might, spirit of knowledge. Yeah, and the fear of the Lord, spirit of the fear of the Lord. In Isaiah 11, 1 through 3, it describes 6 spirits. When you go to Paul the Apostle's teachings, he talks about the spirit of revelation being here now. Again, number 7, perfection. So now the spirit of revelation is here, and this is what Jesus told Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church. So he's telling Peter on spiritual revelation, the fact that you knew that I'm not a prophet, I'm not just a man. Who do people say that I am? Who do you say that I am? Well, you're the Messiah, you're the Son of the living God. Upon this rock, I will build my church. Upon spiritual revelation, because flesh and blood has not revealed this to you, but my Father, which is in heaven. And at the time, he's speaking about spiritual revelation. Peter had received this spiritually. So here's Jesus, knowing now that he has the right, complete right, because everything has now changed, and these people will see when I do what? When I begin at Moses and all the prophets and expound the scriptures, their eyes will be open. He did that. All the 7 miles to their house. He's about to leave their house. They beckon him to stay. He does. He breaks the bread, and it says their eyes were open. And then it says, and he vanished from their sight. Did he really disappear? Or he's there physically because spiritually they cannot see who he is, but yet spiritually when they see who he is, he no longer has to be there physically. That is what happens. He did not just disappear from their eyes. He's still sitting right there. He didn't vanish in that kind of a way where they didn't know where he was at. They may have reacted that way, but Jesus says, I will never leave you nor forsake you. So when they saw him spiritually, there was no need for the physical eyes to still see that type of him. The spirit is that eyesight that was taken away from Adam, like we discussed in Eden, is the same sight that these people were able to use now. The faith part, the spiritual part, the most important part of a man is that spiritual sight, because that is how we were created to be. So their eyes were open because of the breaking of the bread, and they said to themselves, did not our heart burn within us while he talked with us by the way on that road, and while he opened to us the scriptures? So that whole time that he was open the scriptures, they confirm, did not our heart burn within? What was it that Jesus was talking to them about that they did not know? Well, I'm glad you asked, because my next videos that I'm about to start making, I'm going into a different cycle here. I think this was a total of 9 or 10 videos. It's still continuing what we're doing. But now you gotta understand, Jesus had resurrected, so the book of Acts is about to start taking place here. But I'm gonna go to probably straight to Paul. I think after this I'm gonna go to Paul's encounter with Christ, and then that's where I'm gonna stop it, and I'm gonna go to the Old Testament. And we are going to go over from Moses to the prophets and expound the scriptures through spiritual revelation on scriptures that I know that Jesus went over and made these men's heart burn within, to where they said to each other, did not our heart burn within us when he did what? When he opened to us the scriptures, which means they've never seen it before. But this man explained it because spiritual revelation was here, and now people can understand it now. So that's what we're going to go do. So I just real quick wanted to go over Emmaus, and I wanted to see to you when Jesus went up to complete strangers, how he ministered to people and how he made their hearts burn within. What was it that he discussed? And that's what we're going to talk about. But first, I got to go to Paul. And the only reason why I'm going to Paul is because I want to go to the person that was given by Christ. I want to go to the person that was given by him to preach to the Gentiles. And I kind of want to focus on some things that Paul discussed. So that way, when we go back to the Old Testament, starting as far from the beginning as I can, and we're going to go through there and open some scriptures up, lots of them actually. I really want the understanding of what Paul's seen that allowed him to also understand things in the Old Testament. Because you got to understand, Paul, He's one of the guys that knew the Old Testament better than anyone. And for him not to be able to open up the scriptures the way Christ did is to say one thing: his eyes weren't open. His eyesight was still shut, just like Adam's. What does the scripture say about Eden? He put a fiery sword to do what? To keep the way to the tree of life, to keep it. Spiritual sight was the only way to the tree of life. So the sight, because right now we're talking about sight, right now we're talking about, the beginning days of the book of Acts, the new church, if you will. We're going to go and we're going to look at the encounter Paul had with Christ. And when that's done, we're going to take it back again. I'm kind of repeating myself. I apologize. I'm just excited because these are things that I've been wanting to discuss for so long out in the open. And this is an opportunity for those that want some scriptures opened up. I'm going to do that. And I am very grateful that my eyes were open years back and I was able to see these things. And I think they're so amazing. And not to share them would be a very unfortunate event. So, okay, guys. Until next time, we're going to talk about Paul the Apostle, his encounter with Jesus.